Good afternoon. Today we will be studying the next topic of Unit C, which is Unicast Routing Protocol. In the previous classes, we have already covered the terms delivery and forwarding. So, delivery is basically the handling of a packet by the network layer, and forwarding is how the packet is transferred or routed through the routers, one router to another. Now, in this class today, we will be seeing the routing protocols. So let's continue with the different routing protocols. Before resuming with the unicast routing protocols, we will see a bit of the introduction. Then what we have already studied in the previous class, that is static routing table and the dynamic routing table. And what do you mean by optimization in routing protocols, and then intra and inter-domain routing. So first and foremost, what are the different tables, the different routing tables we have? So basically, whenever we are talking about a routing table, it can be either static or it can be dynamic. Now, what is a static table? A static table is one with the manual entries, while who does the manual entry over here? In the case of static table, the network administrator is responsible for the manual entries. While in the dynamic table, it is updated automatically whenever there is some change in the internet. A routing protocol is a combination of rules and procedures that lets the router in the internet inform each other of the changes. So basically, in the case of dynamic table, a routing protocol is responsible for the updation of the routing table. So now, what about the static table? Why can't we use static routing table in the case of network transfer in network layer? So basically, whenever we are talking about static approach, there are several disadvantages with the same. So we are seeing the disadvantages of the static approach. First and foremost, the first disadvantage is it does not deal with node or link failures. So suppose if there is a router which has suddenly shut down, or there is some problem with the router and it is not functioning, then all the other routers which are connected to it will not know whether until the network administrator changes the routing table. Also, it does not consider the addition of new nodes or links. So suppose once the router has shut down, a new node has been added by the network administrator. In that case, this new node or the new router needs to be added in the routing table also by the network administrator. If it is not done, then the other routers will not know about the addition of this new node. So basically, whatever the cost, so suppose if the router 1 and router 2 and we have router 3. So if suppose we are changing if the network administrator has decided that the route to router 3 should be from R2 to R3, and also it is possible that there is a direct route between these two routers, but if the network administrator has created this route in the routing table, it cannot be changed until the network administrator manually changes it. So the edge cost, so whenever we are talking about the routers and the routing protocols, we will consider the nodes or the links as the edges, and the distance between them as the nodes or the link is considered as the vertices, and the distance between them is considered as the edge. So the edge cost cannot change. Basically, the third disadvantage is edge cost cannot change. Now, what will be the solution for all of these disadvantages? So first and foremost, we need a distributed and a dynamic protocol. That is, we will be looking at the dynamic routing tables, and the two main classes of protocols we will be using in the routing is, first is the distance vector, and the next is the link state routing. Now we will look about these two in detail further, but let's begin with this dynamic protocol, a dynamic routing protocol. So a routing protocol, what is it basically? It is a combination of rules and procedures that lets router in the internet inform each other about the changes. Now, whenever we are talking about the dynamic routing tables, today in the internet needs dynamic routing tables because the network of computers and routers is so vast that it cannot be updated by a network administrator manually. It is just impossible to update those tables manually. So the tables need to be updated as soon as there is a change in the internet. For instance, whenever the router is down, then it needs to be informed instantly that the router is down and you need to change your route, and they need to be updated whenever a better router is found. So for that reason, in today's world, we prefer dynamic routing tables. Now, routing protocols, these routing protocols have been created in response to the demand for the dynamic routing tables. So why was the need of the routing protocols? For creating dynamic routing tables, we have created the routing protocols, and it allows the routers to share information, whatever they know about the internet or their neighborhood. So basically, routers, whenever we are talking about the routing protocols, they share information about their neighborhood. They only know about their neighboring routers, and that information is automatically passed to the next router, and this cycle continues till all the routers are updated. So share information about the neighborhood router. The sharing of information allows a router in different networks to know about the failure of a network in any other network. The routing protocol also includes procedure for combining information. So suppose one router is sharing the information about its neighbors, and another router will share the information about its neighbors. So basically, these two routers can combine that information and also create new paths or new routes to other routers. Now, another topic with respect to the unicast routing protocol is the optimization. Now, what do you mean by optimization? Suppose a router receives a packet from a network and passes it to another network. So we have two networks over here. One is N1 and the other is N2. And there is a router which is receiving the packet from N1 and it is passing it on to N2. Then when it receives a packet, to which network should it pass the packet? So suppose in between there is another network or there are multiple routers. So the question is, to which router should it pass the packet? So that decision is based on optimization. So suppose this N1 and N2 may be connected by another router R2 also. There are multiple routers in between them. So N1 will wonder to which router should it pass the packet, and N2, how should the packet reach N2? So how will it decide, or what will the decision be made on? The decision will be made on the optimization. Now, optimization is basically which one of the route is the better choice to send the packet. So what is the, how many number of paths are available? First, it will check that. Then it will check what do you mean by optimization. So basically, usually the approach that is taken for optimization is based on something known as metric. Now, what is this? The metric is assigned to each network. It depends upon the type of protocol. So some protocols are simple, such as routing information protocol, RIP or RIP, and they treat all the network as equal, and they will assign the value 1, or that is basically they will count it as one hop count. So suppose if network 1 is sending some packet, some number of packets to network 2, then it may use any of the routers because each of them has one hop count. Or maybe suppose R1 has another router in between them, R3. So network 1, if it is choosing R1, then it has to pass the packet to R1. R1 will pass the packet to R3. Then R3 will pass the packet to N2. In this case, what will the network 1 do? It will choose the router 2, because directly over there we have only one connection, and network 1 will send it to R2, and R2 is directly giving it to N2. But it is not the case in R1 and R3, where it is using two routers. So basically, it will prefer R2 over here. So this is an example of metric, that is, it is using one hop. So suppose if we are jumping from router 1 to router 2, or the packet is being passed from router 1 to router 2, then to router 3, then it means this is one hop, this is second hop. So here it is two hops. But in the earlier case, here it was simply one hop. So whatever it will, in the routing information protocol, that is RIP, it will count the number of hops. And in some other protocols like OSPF, Open Shortest Path First, it allows the administrator to assign a cost. So the cost is assigned by the administrator depending on different services. So the cost may be depending on the maximum throughput, or it may depend on the minimum delay. So suppose if the throughput, the number of packets that are being sent are received by the another network as it is, that is the maximum throughput, or maybe the number of packets which are being sent will be received by the minimum delay, then those kind of things will decide which kind of metric to be used. So if minimum delay means, if suppose we are using the minimum delay metric, then if there is the link between the two networks is fiber optics, then it will be minimum delay. But if it is a satellite link, then it will cost to delay more than if what we use in fiber optics. So basically, metrics will vary depending upon the type of router that we use. So routers use routing tables to help decide the best route. Basically, what routers are doing, they will use routing tables to help decide the best route. And another protocol which defines the metric in totally different ways. So we have seen about RIP, which is simply based on hop. Then we have seen about OSPF, which is based on variety of metrics or different metrics. One can be the maximum throughput or the minimum delay or the bandwidth which is being used, etc. And then there is another which is BGP, Border Gateway Protocol, which works in totally different way. So here the policy or the metrics is decided by the administrator. So directly here also it is decided by the administrator. So basically, when we are studying the routing protocols, we will study these three only: the routing information protocol, Open Shortest Path First, and the Border Gateway Protocol. Now, the next is intra and inter-domain routing. What is that? So before knowing this last topic or point in our unicast routing protocol, we have to know something about autonomous systems. Now, what is autonomous system? So over here, so today an internet can be so large that one routing protocol cannot handle the task of updating the routing tables of all routers. So because we have so many computers and devices connected to the internet these days, only one routing protocol cannot handle the updation of all the routing tables. For this reason, an internet is divided into autonomous system. Now, what is an autonomous system? It is a group of networks and routers under the authority of single administration. So these group of networks and routers are under the authority of single administration. Now, what is done? Routing inside an autonomous system is referred to as intra-domain routing. Routing inside an autonomous system is referred to as intra-domain routing. The term is intra-domain. And routing between the autonomous system, this routing is the inter-domain routing. Each autonomous system can choose one or more. So inside the routing which is used inside the autonomous system, they can choose one or more different routing protocols. But in the inter-domain routing, only one protocol needs to be used. Only one protocol needs to be used between the different autonomous systems. So this is the intra-domain and inter-domain routing. And now we will see the different routing protocols. So the popular routing protocols that we will be discussing in our lecture are, so first among intra-domain, we have the distance vector and the link state. And in inter-domain, we have the path vector, which is BGP. So routing protocols of RIP and OSPF. So RIP, which is Routing Information Protocol, is an implementation of distance vector algorithm or distance vector protocol. So distance vector is basically based on one of the algorithms that you have studied in data structures, which is Bellman-Ford algorithm. And the link state, open shortest path first, is an implementation of this link state protocol. And this is open shortest path first. Then we have BGP, which is Border Gateway Protocol. Which is based on path vector protocol. So the first two are the protocols which are used in intra-domain, and the last one is the protocol which is used in the inter-domain routing. Now, first and foremost, let's see about distance vector routing. In the case of distance vector routing, the least cost route between any two nodes is the route with the minimum distance. So if we are taking a graph, so we have to recollect the concepts of graph. So we have a vertex and edges in the case of graph. So suppose we have this graph A, it has the vertex A, B, C, D and E. Now in this case, these are the edges of the graph. So A is connected to B, C and D, and B is connected to C, A and E. C is connected to A, B and E, and D is connected only to A. Now in this case, what will happen is each node or each vertex will construct a one-dimensional array. So it will construct a 1D array. This is also referred to as vector containing the distances. So A will construct the table, or it will construct a array containing the distances. So first it will maintain what are all the different vertices. Then it will have another column for the cost or the distance. Now it will, each of these edges will be given some kind of cost, and it will note the cost over here. And after that, it will also maintain another. So for immediate neighbor, it can have some value. For suppose for E, A is not directly connected to E, so it will maintain the value of infinity. So each node knows the cost of the link to its immediate neighbor. So suppose the distance between A and B is 5, and the distance between A and C is 2. So it will write A to A will be 0, A to B will be updated as 5, A to C is 2, A to D suppose is given as 3. So 3, and A to E, there is no distance, so we will update it with infinity. And there will be another column which is maintained. So this is the destination, and this is the cost. And lastly, we have the next hop. Suppose if a node or the destination is not its immediate neighbor, then to which node it should travel next. So suppose E has been given infinity. Is there any other route from A to E where we can use some intermediate node? So yes, there are two ways to reach E. One is B and the other is C. Now suppose C to E, the cost is given as 4. So in this case, and C to B, we are using the cost 3. So it will see what is the minimum cost. So once it knows that the minimum cost from A to E is 6 by using C, it will update the table by the given values. Now, how will it know that there is a path to E from C? Basically, what it will do is C will send its own table to A. So as I said, in the case of dynamic routing tables, Each router will share its neighbor's information with the other router, with the neighbors. So C will share the information that it is connected to E and B with A. So A knows that it is already connected to B, but what it will do is, since it is not connected to E, it will update its array, or it will update its vector. So basically, this 1D array is also referred to as vector, and it will update the table and change the infinity value to 6 with the next hop. So how will it reach E? It will reach E by using the router C. So it will write in the next hop here C. For all the other, this is 0 actually. A to A will be 0, and for all the other, it will just keep a blank value. So this is the concept of distance vector. So this routing algorithm, if you notice, is based on the Bellman-Ford algorithm, which you have already studied in data structures. So it is based on Bellman-Ford algorithm. Basically, after some amount of time, each router sends its table to its neighbor, and each and every router then updates its table based on the new information. Suppose if the router C is down, then what will happen? B will inform A, or A will inform B that C, I am unable to reach C, and in that case, what will happen is basically A will again update its table by changing the route to E, and for C it will mark it as infinity if it is unable to reach the router C. So basically, this is what happens in the distance vector routing. We will see this example in a bit more clear and concise way. And also the main disadvantage with distance vector routing is basically the good news, or the news that there is a route to E, or basically there is a route to any other router, reaches fast or is reacted to fast. So fast response to good news, we will understand this later once we see the entire algorithm or the protocol. So fast response to good news, and slow response to bad news. So this is one major problem in distance vector routing, and also there are too many messages to update. Okay, so these are the disadvantages, and also there are a few other terms which we use in disadvantages, which we will see once we understand the protocol. So let's just see the protocol. So over here in this, we can see a system of 5 nodes with their corresponding values given over here. The cost is given. So first and foremost, we will create the tables for each of them. So for A, we have to create the destination column, then the cost column, and we have the next hop column. Now in this case, first for A, we have to write A, B, C, D, and E. Next, what we will have to do, what is the cost to A? A to A will be 0, next hop is nothing. A to B is the cost is given as 5. We don't need any next hop because it is directly connected. A to C is 2, no next hop. A to D is also 3. And A to E, since it is not given anything, we will have infinity over here. And there is no next hop. Similarly, we will create the table or the routing table for each of these routers. So let's see that. So I'm changing this to B now. For B, we will have the table as, we have to write the names again, A, B, C, D, E. What is the cost for B to A? The cost is 5 and there is no next hop. B to B is, it is 0. B to C, here we have 4. B to D, it is not connected, so infinity again. And B to E, the distance is 3 and it is directly connected, so now next hop. After that, I will draw the table for C. Now C is connected to A, B, and E. So for these three, we will have values. For A, it is 2, B, 4, C, 0, D, it is not connected, so infinity. E will be 4 and no next stop. After that, let's see for D. Now, in the case of D, it is only connected to A, so A will be 3, no next stop, and for all the others, B, C, and E, it is infinity, and for D itself, it is 0. And finally, for E, I'm changing this to E. So E is connected to B and C. So for B, it is 4. For B, it is 3, and C, it is 4, no next stop. For the rest of them, E will be 0, and A and D is infinity since it is not connected to A and D directly. Now, what will happen is basically once the table of B is shared with A, or the table of C is shared with A, it will update the value to reach E. So that we will see in the next slide. So if you notice here, now A has got no infinity value. A has B and C has shared it, their routing tables with A, and A has updated it to the minimum route between A and E. So the minimum route between A and E is through C, which is 6. So E, the cost is 6, and what is the next hop to reach E? It is given as C. Similarly, B, what were the infinity values? B could not reach D. But since A has shared the value with A has shared the routing table with B, it has been updated. The next hop is A to reach D, and the total distance is 8. In this way, all the routing tables, so we will see these routing tables. The reason being, D earlier had only one entry, and all the other entries were infinity. But now you can see that A has shared its routing table with D, and the value to B, C, and E has been updated. What is the value for B? The next hop is A. So if B it wants to reach any other router, it will have to go through A. So A, if it has to reach B, it has to go through A. What is the distance? 8. If it has to reach C, it has to go through A again. The distance is 5. And if it has to reach E, then again it will have to reach A. Then A, what will it do? 6. So it is using the root of 6. So if D has to send a packet to E, it will travel in this way. First, it will travel to A. Then A's route to E is through C. So it will travel to C. Then C will directly transfer the packet to E. So this is the way the distance vector routing works. So these are the final tables, and these are the initial tables of the distance vector routing. So in distance vector routing, each node shares its routing table with its immediate neighbors periodically, and whenever there is a change, it is informed. And so basically, for the change is, suppose if there is a change, if a new node is added, or if the node has been shut down, or it is the node has failed, that is the router is down for some reasons, then the routing table is shared with the neighbors. And also after some given amount of time, after some t seconds, the routing table is shared with the neighbors in the case of distance vector routing. So we will see how the router A is updating. So what is basically being done is A's original table is given. So how is the updation? This is the concept of updation in distance vector routing. So A has received this is the A's old table where E is infinity, and what it will do, it will receive the table from C. It will receive only one more thing is basically in the case of distance vector routing, it receives only 2 columns. So the whole idea of distance vector routing is the sharing of information between the neighbors. And although the node A does not know about node E, node C knows how to reach node E, right? So if node C shares its routing table with A, node A can also know how to reach the node E. On the other hand, node C does not know how to reach node D. So this is infinity. So what it will do, both the routers A and C are helping each other as immediate neighbors, and what they will do, they will improve their routing tables by helping each other. So how, there is only one problem basically, how much table should be shared. So here only two columns are shared. That is, the next hop is not shared, only the first two columns are shared, because the third column is not useful for the neighbor. The third column, that is the next hop column, is not useful for the neighbor, and whenever the neighbor receives the column, this next hop column needs to be replaced. So what happens is basically only two columns are shared, and A will modify its table, compare the table, and it will get this new table. Okay, so it will have A to A is 0, A to B is 5. So it will keep all the old values, and whatever is infinity is replaced by the table which has required the. So in this case, what it will do, it will add A to E. How does it reach? It reaches from A to C, then C to E. What is the distance between A to C? A to C, the distance was 2, and then C to E, the distance is 4. So it will add these two values, 2 plus 4, and update its new table. So this is with respect to the distance vector routing.